Welcome. Thanks for joining us. If you are enjoying this content, please like, share, and subscribe. It helps joy travel. Good morning. Welcome. 1,000 welcomes to you all. It's such a great joy to be together, meditating and rejoicing in the radiance that we are eternally, and then in the tender, precious, magnificent, strong, dynamic, vital humanness of all of us. So thank you. It is a joy to be here. It is a joy to be here in this moment, in this time and space, and to be together. What an incredible gift to be together in that warmth and that brightness, that support, that connection, that friendship that you all are. Thank you so much for being that. We are meditating today on the subject, So Shine. And so this is from the Sermon on the Mount. That phrase is from the Sermon on the Mount. It's from Matthew chapter 5. And so if you were with us a few weeks ago, we did a collective reading of Sermon on the Mount. And one of the things that Jesus says is, let your light so shine before others that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. So the idea is that each of us is invited to be this energy of shining. Each of us is invited to so shine that we are reflecting eternal light. That's really what this teaching is saying. So this is a teaching about how to live in harmony, in joy, in wisdom, with the laws of energy, the laws of truth, the laws of reality, the laws of what is. And so I also am going to juxtapose this with a teaching from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 2, where the yogic teaching is this: give up the longing for the rewards of action. And so putting those two together makes it really clear Jesus is saying the same thing. He's saying, so shine before others that others may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. He's not saying so that they can say, oh, look how awesome that person is. It's, no, look how awesome the light that is sharing through that person is. And so the individual self is like out of the way. So there's no self-consciousness. The individual self is just there to be an instrument of shining. And so that's another way to put it, is each of us is invited to present ourselves to our spiritual ideal by whatever name we call our spiritual ideal and say, here I am, divine grace, here I am, Lord, here I am, divine mother, here I am, universe, here I am, radiance. How may I so shine that I'm just an instrument? And so my separateness, my ego self is not in the way, and there's just effortless, natural shining that is happening. And when we do that, we are also practicing the yogic teaching, give up the longing for the rewards of action. There's nothing that's a barrier between us and just allowing fullness, allowing fruition, allowing wholeness, allowing beauty, allowing perfection, allowing the frequency of divine love to just radiantly, magnetically share through us. And the results take care of themselves, and they all belong to the divine. And so a couple of really sweet examples of this, and then one that's sort of one of those heart-wrenching examples of this. But one of the really sweet examples of this, and this is a reminder and an invitation for all of us, we all have talents, we all have gifts, we all have ways in which that radiance is able to shine through us that are unique to us. It's like a signature, a fingerprint, like the way that each snowflake is completely itself. So we are unique. We are a signature vibration, a signature energy. And we're invited to connect with that and say to the divine, please share radiance through me in whatever way is natural. And so one example of that, I once heard a beautiful singer sing and afterwards said to the beautiful singer, that was magnificent. And the singer said, I'm not doing anything. So this is in action, give up the longing for the rewards of action. And so the singer was acknowledging, I'm not doing anything, the song is singing through me. And so that's the ideal for each of us, whatever our talent is, whatever our instrument is, to know I'm not doing anything. It's the song that is singing through me. Acknowledging that, it may have taken that singer 20,000 hours of practice to be able to allow the song to sing through. And so just acknowledging that's the reality. Like while we're in a body, the singer gets to keep practicing. And so it's the practice of a lifetime. A singer never gets to say, okay, I'm done. Like I'm done practicing. And so for our meditation practice, that's a practice of a lifetime. A really key way to come directly into contact with the harmony, the balance, the stability, the poise, the strength, the steadiness, the quiet, from which light itself arises. And that light is pure creative energy, the pure frequency of divine love. And that takes whatever form the divine is inviting it to take through each of us, right in the midst of our daily lives. And so that's the singer practicing 20,000 hours in order that the singer can say with honesty, I'm not doing anything. The song is singing through me. And so for each of us, just to kind of do a quick check-in and just acknowledge in what ways, and this is right in the midst of our daily lives. This is, I'm invited to allow the song of life to sing through me with my children, with my grandchildren, with my parents, with that really crazy uncle of mine who otherwise would make me shriek out loud when he opens his mouth. And I'm just joking, right? So it's whatever the configuration is in the lives of each of us. In what way is the divine inviting pure radiance to shine through me? And I'm invited honestly to say, I'm not doing anything. But also it might be, I have 20,000 hours of practice that I'm invited to get under my belt. And so to be really steady and honest and faithful and accountable and follow through on both of those. And then sometimes, you will really like this story, sometimes there's beginner's mind, it's called in Zen, where there's just like openness. And because we have openness and we're not foreclosing possibilities, life itself is able to share through us perfectly. And so this is a case of a rookie lifeguard in Australia on the coast, and she's 17. It's this year. It's on New Year's Day. It's in the afternoon, and it's summer in Australia, I should say that. So people are at the beach, and it turns out a kangaroo is at the beach where all of these people are. And the kangaroo kind of hops out to the ocean, and the breakers are coming in. And the kangaroo wants to get away from these fishermen. And so the kangaroo hops into the surf, and it's knocked off of its feet, and it disappears from view. And so this rookie lifeguard goes out there with her surfboard, runs out there, and her first rescue is a kangaroo. And so she goes out there and she doesn't want to alarm the kangaroo. She's like, it's a wild animal. I don't want it to hurt me. I don't want to hurt or alarm it. So she gets behind it on her surfboard and she gently guides it back to shore. And so she saves the life of this kangaroo, and that's her first rescue. And so that's an example of spontaneously allowing kind, wise action to arise perfectly in that present moment. So she didn't question, she didn't doubt, she just allowed spontaneous, kind, wise action to arise through her in that present moment. And so that's for each of us. It's always a fresh moment. It's always unprecedented. Always. In every moment. There's never been a moment like that before. It's fresh, it's new, it's vital, it's alive, it's awake. And all of life would like to be radiant through us in that moment. So that's an example of, sometimes it's the 20,000 hours of practice that allows you to be spontaneous and wise and kind perfectly in that moment. And then sometimes it's like, I'm a rookie, and the very first rescue that I make is this perfect rescue where I help this kangaroo that needed help. And it's actually so sweet as well because so I saw a video narrated by a very kind, compassionate Australian woman's voice, and she's doing like a play-by-play. She's like, the kangaroo has disappeared from view. The lifeguard is running out to save the kangaroo. And then when you see the kangaroo sort of come back to shore, her voice and her compassion and her love, she's like, you can do it, Skip. You've got it, Skip. There you go, Skip. You're all right. You're okay, Skip. And then the kangaroo kind of hops up to kind of like where the sand dunes are, and it looks back on all the humans. And the lifeguard who saved the kangaroo said it was almost like it was looking back to say thank you. And it was a very serene moment. So just precious, innocent, pure, humans at their best moments. So, and then the next story that I have about this sort of like allowing radiance to be an instrument through us. This is another true story, and it's a story that I came across this week. And this is one of those stories, it took 20 years to come to fruition. So just remember that, because I'm telling the story very quickly, but it took 20 years for this story to be lived into, to come to fruition in the particular way. So it begins with a man who comes home, and he's in his own home, and there's an attempted robbery, and he's shot and killed. And so he dies, and the person who shot and killed him is convicted and spends 20 years in prison. The daughter of the man who was shot and killed, after 20 years have passed, says to herself, "My dad's life was lost on that night 20 years ago. Is it right that 2 lives were lost on that night 20 years ago?" She says, maybe that person who has just spent the last 20 years in prison has had a change of heart. Maybe that person has become a good person. And so she starts asking for that person to be released from prison. No one in her family opposes this request. The person is released from prison. They meet the person who served 20 years and the daughter of the man who was killed. And he says to her, "I was sorry before. I'm even more sorry now because I see that you're good people." And so he's out of prison. He's working 2 jobs. He's doing his best to be good people. And the 2 of them have an unusual, unlikely friendship. It's very clear that no one quite understands their friendship. It's very clear that other people in her family look at her and say, "I don't know quite what's up with that." And it's also very clear that something within her was able to extend genuine forgiveness. Something within her was genuinely able to let go of, it was real pain, it was real trauma, it was real shock, it was real loss, it was real anguish. That was real. And she was able to say, and do I want there to be 2 lives lost that night 20 years ago? And that's a choice that's very individual. So it can be made by one who is ready to make that choice. So for each of us, the question, and this is for each of us to meditate on, in our own lives, our life is our practice. So Patanjali makes it clear that meditation is the practice of a lifetime. Living the principles of truth and the laws of energy, the way they are shared in the Sermon on the Mount, the way they are shared in the Bhagavad Gita, the way they are shared in the Buddhist teachings, that's the practice of a lifetime. So we're never done practicing. And for each of us, the actual shape our life has taken, that's where the teachings are. That's where the practice is. And so for each of us, the pain, the shock, the trauma, the difficulty, the sadness, the loss, it's different. It takes a different form for each of us. And very clearly, each of us is invited to see if we can move beyond holding that energy of shock and pain and trauma in our energy field, to see if we can let it go from being held in our body, to see if we can let it go from being held in our emotions, to see if we can stop ruminating on it, to let go of those patterns and thinking that otherwise revert to it and sort of form those loops that continue to replay that pain within ourselves. It's a choice that is freely available to everyone when and as we are ready to make that choice. So I'm closing my eyes in meditation right now. I invite you to do the same. And this is a meditation to return to and to enjoy blessing yourself with as often as you like. So first, we're just connecting with the beauty of the song of life. So even think of music that you love And think of the way that song sings through the musician, the artist, the singers that you love. Think of the singer who says, I'm not doing anything, and of the 20,000 hours of practice that it may take for there not to be anything between the singer and the song, simply allowing the song to be sung. Think of the joy and the spontaneousness and the effervescence and the laughter of the 17-year-old rookie lifeguard in Australia whose first rescue is a kangaroo, effortlessly allowing life to share wisely, joyfully, kindly through her. Connect with that song of life. Connect with that spontaneous, kind, wise awareness, responsiveness, action. Allow the song of life, allow the energy of spontaneous, wise, kind, responsive action to sweep through your body. Allow it to untie any knots, melt away any blockages, bring harmony and clarity, steadiness and stability within the physical body. And then just inquire. Is there anywhere in which I am invited to bring strength or balance into my physical body, into my perception of my physical body? Connect with the song of life. Fresh, spontaneous, kind, wise, responsive action. And the energy of the human heart. And gently, honestly inquire, is there anywhere I am invited to allow the song of life? Spontaneous, wise, kind, responsive action to bring strength, to bring balance into my human heart. Connect with the song of life. Fresh, vital, vibrant, kind, clear, aware action. And the patterns of thinking that might be recursive, that might reappear in your awareness. And with a sense of humor, inquire, is there anywhere I am invited to bring steadiness and balance into my thoughts? Remembering that thoughts are creative. Thoughts have effects in the realm of time and space. How would I love to direct my thoughts? So too, the yogic teachings tell us, words are creative. They have effects in time and space. How would I love to invite the song of life, fresh, wise, kind energy to share through my words? With every choice I make, with every action I take, there are effects created for me and for hundreds of others. As I choose, as I act, what would I love to create? What joy, what beauty, what generosity, what good humor, what energy of pure love would I like to make visible with my choices and with my actions? I'm inviting myself and all of us to press my hands together in prayer at the heart, connecting with the steadiness, the coherence, the strength, the joy, the confidence that is present in the fullness of the moment. Pure radiance, pure potentiality, the energy that is effervescent, creative, dynamic, vital, the energy of wholeness and gladness, the energy of laughter that bubbles up. That energy, the I am with each of us, the I am within each of us is that energy in purity, in potency, in gladness, in magnificence, now and always. Thank God, and God bless us all.